Did ancient artists leave us clear signs of otherworldly interference in our lives and in our culture? Art can be considered a record of history, culture, and science as it reveals man in his many aspects, offering a more complete insight and a unique viewpoint. Since the beginning of man, humans have always felt a need to reproduce celestial events, first on the walls of caves and then on canvas. It is not the case that history, art, archaeology, and anthropology were rewritten in art, but these interpretations should be viewed in light of new elements whose existence had not previously been suspected. Much has been written about the representation of strange objects placed in the sky in works of art, such as this disc in the sky behind the Madonna and Child, where a man and his dog are looking up at the sky and seeing what appears to be a disc. But little has been written about some ancient tapestries of the medieval period, and what has been discussed is controversial because it challenges the orthodox opinion and perspectives. So keep an open mind and take a look at what I have to present, because these paintings suggest that we have been visited several hundred years in advance of today. This ancient fresco is entitled Crucifixion of Christ, painted in 1350 in 3 parts. The wall mural by an unknown artist can be found in the Visoki Dekani Monastery in Kosovo. 2 odd-looking objects with pilots can be seen in the sky on both sides of Jesus. There are many explanations for what these symbols represent, but most people like to believe that they are spacecraft. Check them out. In this image, painted in 1710 by Ert de Gelder, showing a disc-shaped object shining 4 beams of light down on John the Baptist, considered by scholars to be a very convincing UFO encounter, and entitled The Baptism of Christ, is very compelling evidence, to say the least, that we have had UFO encounters going back at least 300 years or more. In this painting, which was painted in the 1500s by an unknown painter, represents what appears to be a satellite, metallic satellite of sorts, with 2 antennae sitting on the clouds between Jesus and the Apostle Peter. Check it out. What's really interesting is that most of these paintings were commissioned by the church. So the church knew ahead of time what they were going to allow or not allow in each painting. So if there was a UFO included into the painting, the church was well aware of it and allowed it. Here's a medieval tapestry showing what appears to be 2 black discs up in the upper left-hand corner flying above the people. The date is suggested that it's closer to about the 1200s, so the 13th century. Check it out. This painting is entitled The Annunciation with Saint Emitius, circa 1486. This is an altarpiece painted by Italian artist Carlo Crivelli, designed to celebrate the announcement by the angel Gabriel to the Virgin Mary that she would become Mother of Jesus. Some theories suggest that the halo of the Holy Spirit depicted in the top left shining down a beam of light is actually a UFO. This painting is found in the Svetishove Cathedral and is a fresco which was painted in the 1600s, a 17th century painting of the crucifixion of Jesus, which can be found in the cathedral in Mesquite, Georgia, shows two saucer-shaped craft on either side of Jesus. Check it out. Here's another medieval painting suggesting flying saucers being in the presence of the Pope during a papal visit, showing that the church was fully aware of UFOs being around and being depicted in tapestries and frescoes. These kind of represent what appears to be flying or floating rocks or stones, but they still kind of have that disc-shaped appearance. So perhaps the artist was trying to hide them in his painting so the church wouldn't know. It's always a possibility. Here's another medieval tapestry from 1201 AD depicting a black flying disc circling over the city. Check it out. In this unknown piece of work, we see what appears to be three angels holding some type of sacred relic beneath what appears to be a dome-shaped, unidentified flying object with lights around the center and a light on top. What do you think? Could the beings with the halos actually be spacemen wearing space helmets and wearing different uniforms to signify their status on the ship? In this painting, we have what appears to be a young gentleman looking up at the sky and seeing a flying humanoid. Now, is this an angel representation, or is this actually a flying humanoid in the sense of an alien being? It is yet to be determined since it's such an unknown piece, and due to the fact that it's from the 1300s. In the 1500s, once the church did not have the market cornered on art and artists began commonly painting for private citizens or even for themselves, artist Hans Glaser made a wonderful woodcut of a sky filled with different shapes of objects. Again, there were discs. There were also long tubes, bulbous crosses, and arcing streaks. This woodcut looked far stranger than anything seen in earlier paintings, but it depicted a scene that many people saw above Nuremberg, Germany. They saw tubes and crosses beginning to fight one another and shoot fire at each other as if there was a space battle occurring, and then a large black pointed arrow-shaped vehicle came down and all the other vehicles left the airspace. Could this have been an alien battle? Very possible. At least that's what the scholars of ufology tend to believe. Here we have another painting suggesting the possibility of a satellite sitting between the archangels up on the clouds above the heavenly host, circa 1128 AD. Check it out. Here's another woodblock cut or print circa 1045 AD over Rouen, France, depicting what appears to be a battle or the presence of several disc or orb-shaped craft in the skies. Check it out. Could this legitimately indicate another UFO encounter? And here again is another representation of the crucifixion of Jesus, showing two flying saucers at the base of the cross flying away. Do you think that UFOs were present at the crucifixion? These paintings seem to indicate yes. In this painting from the Renaissance period, we have what appears to be an ornate balloon or perhaps even an orb-shaped vehicle. What do you think? This image is of Saint Wolfgang and the Devil, painted by Michael Pache in the 15th century. Many believe the winged creature is an alien rather than the devil. Check it out. The winged being kind of represents what appears to be an Anunnaki, a possible winged alien life form that visited Earth early on, but it is hard to determine whether this is a demon or an alien. But art scholars still wonder till today. In this religious fresco from the Renaissance period, we see what appears to be a flying egg-shaped craft with Jesus sitting on something in the middle, reaching out to the people below. In this fresco, painted in 1307, we see what appears to be a scalloped-edged disc floating above a building. This image was located in a German church. After the last invasion attempt of Japan by Genghis Khan in 1281, a UFO of sorts was found floating in the bay or off the coastline of Japan. This is a representation of that UFO, along with a Japanese man holding a box that was found inside the craft. Here is another representation of the same vehicle. Perhaps it looks a little larger in this image, but it still shows the Japanese man holding the box, and you can see the markings on the vehicle. Is this an extraterrestrial craft that was found off the coastline of Japan? Who knows, but it occurred in the 1200s AD. Here you can see them both side by side to make a comparison. And here's another representation of the same event. Same craft with the same grills up on the top part of the craft and the stripes down below. Check it out. And the same Japanese man holding the box. And yet again here, the same event is represented. Remember, these woodblock prints are from the 1200s or the 13th century. They cannot be proven or disproven either way, but it sure appears to be a UFO or extraterrestrial encounter of some kind.